Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, we saw last time that this whole purpose of these 5 elements and how everything comes from 5 elements is to show that what you think you are, what is the body and mind, which is nothing but made up of 5 elements, right? So now you have 2 things. One is awareness, okay, and the other thing is the universe, which is nothing but permutation and combination of 5 elements, right? Now, so who is Jiva? Okay. Now, who is this individual who is living in this world, right? Thinking that I'm only this much. So this is what we call Jiva. Jiva was explained as Sthula Sharira Abhimani. Okay. So that means this awareness gets what? Mixed up. The attributes of this awareness get mixed up with what? The attributes of one given physical body and mind, right? So it's not the entire physical body and mind, only with one particular body and mind, what? The awareness gets mixed up, okay? And one saha eva jivaha prakrutya swasmat ishwaram bhinnatvena janati. Okay. Now, once you fix your eye to one given body and mind, what is your orientation?
It's limited.
It is highly limiting, right? And you think everything else is other than me.
Isolation and duality.
Yes? Absolutely. Isolation and duality. Excellent, Manisha. Okay? This is the orientation. You can't get rid of this orientation unless you re-understand the reality. Isolation because me against the whole world. Now, where are you? If this is your identity, who are you? Not even one little dot in the map of the universe. And everything that is not you is what? So overwhelmingly big. Right? And that means with this orientation, what? And then you have your definition of what brings you satisfaction. Okay? So therefore, you, with all your ability, try to manipulate this vast, big universe according to your needs. You are in a losing game. What is your power and what is your capacity to manipulate this vast, big universe in which you find yourself?
Non-existent.
Non-existent. And what, your whole life is what? Attempting to do that. So imagine the basic problem. Okay? So that means that basic problem does never get solved until you question the fact, what? That I am only this little individual. Because with that orientation you are in a losing game. Wanting to control the universe, which is billions of years old, in which your 100 years is insignificant and you want the world to work according to your wishes. Hey, how subjective can you get? You have to, objective living is, you have to understand how the world works and then navigate your life intangibly, understanding the laws that govern the universe. Okay? So therefore, this Jiva is in a losing game because there is this awareness which is all pervasive, is what? Thought to be confined to one given body. And with this confinement, the automatic outcome is, as Manisha says, there is duality. Me and the world. And everything else. Okay? And with this everything else, in terms proportion is so big and me is so insignificantly small, there is isolation. Sense of isolation, sense of deprivation, inadequacy, lack. That is what we call the fundamental human problem. It has got nothing to do with how much money you have. It has got nothing to do with how much power you have. It has got nothing to do with what skills you have. When you position yourself in that way, world is overwhelmingly big. No matter what, compared to, you think that you're one thinks that one is powerful. Even the most powerful person in this world, who do you think is the most powerful person in this world? Most of the people would say the President of the United States. That is what everybody says generally. Right? What is his power against his ISI? Nothing. Right? So that means even the most powerful person is so helpless compared to so many things. What is this? This is the highest possible. Compared to that person, what is your power? Right? And so that means the helplessness is something which is just enormous. Okay? So that means that this is what we call that helplessness, lack, inadequacy, limitation is what we call the fundamental human problem. It doesn't get solved with increasing money. Why do we call it fundamental human problem? Because it doesn't get solved with increasing money, increasing power, increasing influence, increasing your skill. And the only way that we know how to interact with the world is what? Increasing your power, increasing your money, increasing your skills. This is the only way. Okay? So this is what he says, that this is not only the person thinks I'm away from the universe, what is the orientation that person has with reference to Ishvara? Ishvara is the cause of the universe. Okay? What is my understanding, everybody's understanding of the cause of the universe? Cause of the universe means Ishvara. Ishvara in English, I don't know, people use the word God. Right? But in Sanskrit we call it Ishvara. So, what is that person's orientation with reference to the cause of the universe?
Somebody up there who has
Excellent. Right? So that means this person who is a jiva, the individual, not only takes the world to be different from oneself, but also takes, as Nandita says, the God to be some entity away from him or her, okay, in different time and place framework from where he or she, right, is governing my life. Okay. The minute you have this orientation, there is a problem. The problem is that you can say, that now I understand that there is some God and I'm praying so hard to this God for things to happen my way, and this God who has the knowledge and the power to do it and still doesn't do it my way. So therefore, this God is what? Highly sadistic. Because if you don't have power and if you don't do it, it's okay. But if you have the power and if you don't do it, then what? Then you're mean. Exactly. You understand that when you have faulty ideas about what is I and what is the nature of the cause of the universe, you get into problems. Like people say, so what? As long as I think there is Ishvara, so what difference does it make? Why should I know the nature of Ishvara accurately? Because you get into problems like this. You first understand who is Ishvara, then ask this question, what is a prayer? Re-understand what is Ishvara. because this particular understanding of Ishvara is faulty, and with that faulty assumption you will get into these kind of problems. Okay, so therefore the person, as it is said, is also concluding not only that the world is away from me, Ishvara is also away from me. Okay? The cause of the universe is away from me. This is what we call the avidya. Avidya means ignorance about everything. Ignorance about who I am, ignorance about the nature of the universe and my relationship with it, and ignorance about my relationship with the cause of the universe. So this is why he says, avidya upadhi san atma jivaha iti uchyate. Okay? So therefore, this atma, which is awareness, when it is afflicted as though with this avidya, not knowing one's true nature, then this is what we call jiva. Okay? Now, upadhi, before I move on to what is Ishvara, you need to know this word upadhi. Avidya upadhi, okay, san atma, the atma which is awareness, which is all pervasive, becomes a jiva, the individual, because of ignorance. Right? And that ignorance is a big ignorance, because it not only makes a person to conclude I'm only this much, also makes a person to conclude the world is different from me and the cause of the universe is different from me. Okay? Now, what is upadhi? You have to understand, it's a technical term. Okay? So upadhi, I don't know, most of you anyway don't know any Indian languages. I think, do you know any Indian languages? You do?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Okay. Because if you know Indian language, then do you know the meaning of the word upadhi? No. So that's why I say you don't know.
Upadhi like a title? Solution? Upadhi like a title given to...
Okay, so that's why you don't know well enough.
So we learn English.
Okay, upadhi, if you know a little bit of this Hindi and Gujarati, what it then means, the colloquial meaning of this upadhi means that body, you know, some kind of
Ulchan.
exactly. So that is the meaning of upadhi, right? Now, in Sanskrit, that is not the meaning. So that's why what happens is, if you know vernacular languages, right, sometimes what you understand by those words is not what is meant in Sanskrit technical terms. So that's why you have an advantage sometimes, but you also have a disadvantage sometimes, right? So now you're a clean slate, so I don't need to remove the meaning of upadhi from you. I just have to explain what upadhi is, right? Now, upadhi is a term. There are two terms in Sanskrit. One is called upanita and the other one is called upadhi. Okay? So, in order to explain to you what it means, do you have some kind of a colored cloth? Okay, can I borrow this? Okay. Now, when I place, if this is a clear glass, and if I place this, exactly. Right? So, here, because of the placement, right, the glass, which is clear, as though takes on what? The color of below. Okay? If it is distant, it doesn't. But if it is placed like this, then it takes on. Right? So, now, imagine that the world was programmed in a way, right, that this pillow moves and a blue color comes. When the blue moves, then yellow comes. When the yellow moves, grey comes. When grey moves, there is green comes. So if you look at just the basic perception, what will you conclude? You will think that the glass is now red, then the glass becomes blue, then the glass becomes green, and the glass becomes grey. What is the reality?
Glass is still
Glass is always clear, constant. What is changing is what? The background. Absolutely. right? So therefore, now, so what is upadhi and what is upahita? Upadhi is defined as that which lends its attribute to something else. As though, not really. Like this pillow and its color lend it to the glass, but only as though, without really lending it. The glass never became red, but it gave the appearance of becoming red. Right? That means, what is upahita? Upahita is the glass which as though takes on the attribute of something which is in the background. Okay? There is no real mix-up. It never happens, but there is an appearance. Right? So one, upadhi is defined as that which as though lends its attribute to something else, and upahita is that which as though takes on the attribute of something else. So now, in case of jiva, now you put this. Jiva is what? This self-evident I, which is awareness, okay, which is what we call upahita. It as though takes on the attribute of what? Your mind. Because in your understanding, what is your I? Whatever is going on in your mind is your I.
I'm not my body.
So that means, as before you come to Vedanta, you have a sense of I. Right? What is that sense of I that you have? Generally, you define yourself in keeping with the conditions of your body and conditions of your mind. That's how you define it, right? So now, in this case, what is upadhi and what is upahita?
Your eyes, you are the...
Upahita is your
I. The I
Your
is
body
the
and mind and your
inside
atma.
truth.
Jiva is the upahita.
The body is the upahita.
Upahita is
Okay.
the Ishvara inside you, the truth inside you.
Exactly.
The colorings
So
that you
means-
have are the...
Exactly. Shona, can you say what you are saying is right?
Upahita is the Ishvara inside you, all
The
knowledge,
awareness.
the awareness,
Yeah.
and upadhi is the attributes that you put onto it, the colorings that you have, what you believe you are.
Excellent. What she's saying is absolutely right. Okay? The awareness which is self-evident, because of which you come to know what different thoughts. It is, the thoughts are like the background.
Which is
They
the
keep
upadhi.
changing. The upadhi.
It's
They
the
keep
background.
changing, right? In one day, how many different thoughts you have? One thought comes, the thought goes, thought another comes, and your whole definition of who you are is based on what? Something which is changing. Okay? And what is your true nature?
The glass.
This awareness which is never affected by whatever is changing. It is like this glass which always remains clear. This is awareness which is upahita, and thoughts are what? Upadhi. Because this awareness seems to be what? As good as the thought that I have. So that's why you keep on making the statement, I am happy now, I am sad now, I am jealous now. What is that? That thoughts are what?
The color.
Color. They just keep changing all the time. Okay? But they seem to what? If you
Become
don't
you.
examine they seem to become you. It becomes you until the time that you know the difference between upadhi and upahita. If you don't know it, you'll always attribute what? All the colors to the glass. Okay, so that means, as Shona says, different thoughts that you have, right? They are upadhi. They color what? Your awareness, which actually is always free. How do you know this is true? You know it is true because you think of a tree, then the tree thought goes, this painting thought comes, does the tree thought continue? No. If that was the case, when I'm seeing you right now, all my perceptions of the past would be stuck to that awareness. Okay? The very fact that right now my awareness is totally clear means that none of the thoughts which have come and gone have done anything to this awareness, anything to me. That's why my awareness right now, when I'm trying to listen to something, is clear. Otherwise, what? The red would stick to it, the blue would stick to it, the green would stick to it, what? It will. Right? So this is where the whole fundamental problem is, that the attributes of upadhi are taken on as what? The attributes of. So upadhi is that this body and mind, which is limited, now understand, is an upadhi. It's an upadhi because it lends its attribute to awareness. That's why all my life I start thinking that my eye awareness is as good as the body and mind. It is like thinking that the glass is red because what? The pillow is red. Do you understand that?
This is the second problem we were discussing last time, correct? No, problem number 2 you told us last time. First,
Yeah. Yeah.
First one was?
Exactly.
the ignorance of awareness, and second
Yes.
is
Exactly.
Trying
Even
to
if you
yeah.
know there is awareness, you still impute the attributes of body and mind into awareness. Excellent, Manisha. Very good. Okay. First of all, you don't even know that there is a distinction between awareness and thoughts. You think you are only thoughts. Secondly, even if I show you that this awareness is what? Independent of the thoughts, you still keep on connecting. You think that this awareness is confined to the body and mind. That's the second problem. Okay? So therefore, this whole thing is understanding why am I, what is the nature of problem? I'm taking on the attributes of body and mind which are constantly changing, which are variable, which don't stay the same as my attributes. Whereas I am this upahita which is free from attributes of body and mind. But because this awareness is placed in a way that I have one specific relation. If this pillow was away, you will not see redness. Only because this pillow is placed in a way, that's why you make a mistake. If you have not been given specific relationship with one body and mind, you would not make the mistake. Awareness was, I don't impute on my awareness your attributes. I only impute whose attributes? My body and my mind, not your body and your mind. Right? Why? Because that awareness is available to me with only with reference to what?
My body.
One body and one mind. So that means on this glass, I take on, if this is placed here, I take on only the attributes of that pillow, not everything else in the room. You understand? So therefore, avidya upadhi is what we call it. Every individual is born with a specific relationship with only one given body and one given mind. Not all bodies and all minds. So this body and mind becomes upadhi. I put on the awareness, the attribute of that body and that mind. Okay? Whereas, what is the nature of awareness? It is free.
Constant.
intact. Exactly. It is constant, it is intact. This is what we call in Sanskrit Pratibodham Viditam Matam. Okay? Pratibodha Viditam Matam means, as she says, it is not variable. It is invariable presence, because of which you come to know the presence of everything else.
Present what?
Everything else, including your thoughts. Okay, so this is what we call an individual, where there is a mix-up. The attributes of body and mind are imputed on what? Awareness. Awareness is Upanita, and Upadhi becomes what? The body and mind characteristic, which as though lends its attribute to awareness, where you see only awareness as good as the body and mind. Understand?
Can you say Pratibodha?
Pratibodhitam Viditam Matam. That is Sanskrit, you need not worry about it. But I just want to show that what I am saying is not my ideas, it's all coming from Upanishads. That's why I sometimes use Upanishad sentences to make you see that I'm not here just giving my opinions and my ideas and things like that. I'm here showing you what Upanishads have to say, what Gita has to say, what Vedanta Shastra is. Okay? So therefore, this is what avidya upadhi is. That's what makes an individual. Now, let's move to the cause of the universe. What is the cause of the universe? Nandita, as she says, is it as we believe to be some entity somewhere sitting, right, with more power and more knowledge than me, big uncle? No. So what it is, we will see now. Maya upadhi san atma ishvaraha iti uchyate. Okay, so this same awareness which has another upadhi. Okay, what is the other upadhi? Maya upadhi. You remember we did the word Maya?
Projection.
Projection. Exactly. Right? So what did we remember? Maya is the capacity, right, which is, where is it resting? On the same awareness, right, which is free from any boundaries to project the universe. Okay? What does it mean? Project the universe, it means what? Time, space, and every object within time and space.
So everything is just Maya.
Exactly. Everything, as Nandita says, is the product of Maya. Product of what? This capacity to manifest as what? Different names and forms in the universe. Okay? Now this capacity we further divided into two categories. What are the two categories? Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Okay? So that means this awareness, which has the capacity to project the whole universe, okay, is, one thing is Vikshepa, projection, and the second is what we call Avarana Shakti. Avarana Shakti. What is Avarana Shakti? If the whole universe is nothing but this awareness, product of this awareness, and if everybody knew it, there will not be any ignorance. Right? But nobody knows it, so everybody thinks what?
That they are.
I'm only this much, everything else is away from me, the cause is away from me. Okay? So that means this Shakti, which what? Wails. We saw that. Wailing power. Wailing power means it takes away from our understanding this reality. Okay? But we are also given the capacity to what? Know it too. Okay? So not only we are given a veil, we are also given what? Capacity to know it. Right? So this is where this whole thing, why? That's why everybody comes in this universe not knowing things of the universe and not knowing what? One's own self.
So you're saying like all this birth and death and all, it's all just Maya.
It is within the capacity.
So
exactly.
your eye and everything that happens around you is just Maya.
It's not just Maya. This is something which is a product of Maya. It's not ordinary, right?
No,
It is
yeah.
the projecting capacity within which there is ignorance, okay? And you also have the capacity to remove this ignorance. So that means many lifetimes can go within the power of this Maya, not even knowing that it is a product of, who I think is not really who I am. In one lifetime, you may realize that mistake and you can undo that mistake.
So Vikshepa Shakti is the
Projecting.
projected.
Yeah.
And what?
Avarana is within that projection, every character of that projection doesn't know that all that is here is not reality.
So that is sort of the way.
That is the way. Right? A very simple example. Before I go in and I explain further this wailing power, I want to give an example. Example which will enable you to understand a little bit, conceptualize what exactly is this Maya power. Okay? Each one of you have this Maya power. Okay? When you go to sleep and you what? Create your dream world. You create your dream world, what? Your little awareness, I'm talking relatively here, right? Your little awareness, you have the capacity to project one whole world. Dream time, dream space, dream characters. How many characters are there in your dream? Lots and lots of characters are there. There are mountains, there are rivers, there's, you can be sitting and sleeping and dreaming in Bombay and you can be dreaming about Spain. God. Okay, so you create the entire, all the details. Okay, that is your what? Capacity to project, Vikshepa Shakti. Now, while the dream is going on, does each character in the dream know that all that is here is one awareness? How do you live in the dream world? Flipped. You identify with only one character in the dream, thinking that I am only this much, and then because of your interaction with the dream characters, you have feelings. Sometimes that's why you say, I had a pleasant dream, or you have a nightmare. So that means, while the dream is going on, the knowledge that the entire thing is only me, is that there for you? There is a way. Because in the dream world, you behave as though you are only one character and not everything else. And what is the reality?
It's all you. You created all of that in your own mind actually.
Excellent. Right? The reality is that the whole creation is nothing but you. The dream time is you, dream space is you, dream characters are you, dream mountains are you, dream rivers are you. Okay? But while in dream, this understanding is not available to you. You behave in the dream as though you are only one character who's interacting with the world which is away from you. So that means in your own dream you see both Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. You project the dream world, and within this dream world itself you forget who you are while the dream is going on. Okay, so that means that is your little dream. Now, let us come to the waking world, the real world. Okay. The real world, what is our orientation?
Duality.
Duality. The tree is different from me, the mountain is different from me, the planets are different from me.
You develop attachments also.
Yeah, exactly. So just like in dream, right? You can develop attachments in the dream to some other character. You may fall in love in the dream. You can do anything in the dream. It's all happening within you. Similarly, in the waking, what? You think I'm only this much, then you can have transactions and then it can give you many different experiences and you are so caught in those experiences, right? And that ignorance goes on and on and on through cycles of birth and death.
So in the retreat, Surya told me and Anjali the story of Vishnu describing what is Maya and this drink of water. So that is what you're saying right now, right? About somebody came and asked Vishnu, can you tell me what is Maya? And he said, go get me a glass of water. And then he went to get water and he met this person by the river and the whole story.
Yeah, that's a story form. What I'm saying is slightly more technical. I mean, those are story forms to show you that how you kind of get engaged in the world and then how you create. But here I'm showing something very, very technical. Like what I'm saying is, this awareness, which is free, which is upahita, has another upadhi. Okay? The other upadhi is what? One is one which takes oneself to be as good as the body and mind. The other upadhi is what? That projection. This awareness, right, is kind of as another upadhi, which is what we call Maya upadhi. Okay. So in that awareness, there is a power to project the world. In that projection, there are two capacities. Capacity, Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. So you project the world and within that projection what? Each character in the projected world forgets what the reality is. Then each character starts thinking I'm only this much. If each character knew that the entire projection is only one thing which is manifesting in different names and forms, we will behave in the world very differently.
So then that is the Avarana Shakti.
That is the Avarana Shakti. Right? Now, this Avarana Shakti, this ignorance, so that means this Avarana Shakti and all, you think it's all very technical. Very technical, no. You just look at your own experience. What is your experience? When you are born in the world, you neither know about things of the world nor you know your true nature. This is what we call Avarana Shakti. Avarana Shakti means you don't know what the nature of the world is. You don't know how the gravitational laws work. You don't know how your own anatomy, you don't know. You don't know how, whether the time and space is relative or not relative. You don't know anything when you are born, right? This is what we call Avarana Shakti. The gravity is already working, making you who you are, making you hold on this earth, and you still don't know. This is what we call Avarana Shakti. Don't construe some meaning of philosophical meaning. This is just making you see certain realities about how things are. Don't project meanings. Just this is what Avarana Shakti is. When you're born, you don't know. The world, the eyes are already made, but you have no idea how your eyes are made. That is what we call Avarana Shakti. Your liver and your kidneys are already functioning and you don't even know, you haven't even learned the words kidney and liver and still they are doing their job. This is Avarana Shakti. Okay? Your whole respiratory system is working and you don't even know what is happening. Your circulatory system is working, you don't know. The planets are fixed and you don't know. The position of sun and the earth is what? Exact distance and you have no idea. You don't even know that you are on this planet earth and how the position of planet earth is in the entire scheme of the whole solar system. This is what we call Avarana Shakti. Don't think that Avarana Shakti means something very big. It means it wails because the world is already arranged and you don't know how it is arranged. It wails from your understanding. When you go to school, what are you doing? Excellent. You go and you get knowledge. What are you doing?
Removing the brain.
Exactly. Nobody creates knowledge. The laws of gravity are already working. You don't create laws of gravity. What do?
Recognize them.
Recognize the existence of laws of gravity, which was otherwise veiled from your understanding. So what do? You keep on removing veils after veils after veils. Okay? In that process of removing veils, what do you remove veils about?
Awareness.
About the world, right? The way things are arranged, when you go and study physics, when you go and study mathematics, when you go and study economics, when you go and study whatever the discipline, biology, medical, you remove your veils with reference to that particular subject. This veil about who you are, does it ever get removed through this process of academic education? No. It remains intact. Okay, so that means you keep on removing your veils about what? Things that, about the world. You never question this basic mix-up that remains intact.
So is this also Vikshepa Shakti?
That
When
is
you're
Avarana Shakti.
not learning, like say about physics and this
Yeah,
and that.
that is removing veils. That
yeah.
is,
So isn't
That
that
is
the
called
it is
Vikshepa Shakti?
Vikshepa is just a projection. You are not projecting. When you are knowing things, you are not actually projecting. You are just removing your veils. Because the world, which is what we call the time, the planets were already made. It doesn't depend upon whether you know it or not. The body is already made. Even right now, if I ask you what are the different parts of your body, how many parts of the body you will be able to name? Tell me. Limited. If you ask a medical doctor, they'll name many more parts. But when everybody came with a body which was already made. This is what we call projection. Projection means awareness has a capacity to project this highly complex world, where everything is so intelligently put together. Okay? So that is what we call Maya Shakti. Within that Maya Shakti, there are two aspects. One is capacity to project, and the other one is what? Capacity to veil. To veil is with reference to two things, about the world and about oneself. When we go to school, we keep on removing veils about things of the world. The original error that we make, which is what? Mixing up of what is Upadhi and Upahita, it remains intact. It's never addressed. Okay? But this also can be addressed through a teaching. Okay? So that means that intelligence, because of which the whole creation comes about, that Upadhi is what we call Ishvara. The awareness with reference to the knowledge, every projection requires knowledge. Okay? If I were to project what? Sun. How much knowledge is required to project the sun and to position the sun in solar system? How much knowledge?
A lot.
A lot of knowledge. Infinite. You try to simulate a sun. One little planet, one star in the vast universe. You try to recreate sun. It's impossible. You create a, okay, that is too big. You just recreate a human eye. It is impossible. So that means this power to project requires what? Knowledge. So this is why Ishvara is, in Sanskrit, we call it Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman. All knowledge, which has all power to project the universe. Now, if Ishvara is Sarvajnaha Sarva Shaktiman, all knowledge and all power. Okay. Can you localize that Ishvara? All now, look at this, it's amazing. Logically, right? Logically, we are so clueless. We call Ishvara all knowledge and all power, and then we localize that Ishvara somewhere. If that is Ishvara and that is the knowledge of Ishvara, if my knowledge is other than that knowledge or not, if I have localized Ishvara?
Yes.
Yes. If you have localized Ishvara, your knowledge is different from his knowledge. Okay? Her knowledge is different from his knowledge. Her knowledge is different from his knowledge. He becomes just one little entity in the universe. Because that means, can you call it all knowledge? The minute your knowledge is separate from his knowledge, can you call it all knowledge? No.
Just remove something.
Exactly. Because it has removed something from that knowledge. If your power is distinct from that all power,